I'm Laurent. I'm part of the team here at Kyan, and today I'm going to talk to you about the first diamond in our product framework, and that is the discovery process. That first session is about our team and the client team coming together and everyone getting to that same point where we understand all the background, we understand all the rationale as to why we're here and what we're trying to achieve. That just sets the stage for that whole discovery period to be as productive as possible. Once we've got that initial understanding and everyone's on the same page, then we work through the list of activities for discovery. So within our discovery framework, we have a set of activities that we use over and over again that have kind of proved their worth, and we know we can get good value out and we know solve a particular problem. But because every product that we build is different for a different market and coming from a different place, it's not always use the same activities for every product. So a product where you're going into a really competitive market, probably competitor analysis is going to be key, is like understanding what the existing people in the market are doing. Whereas if it's a completely new market that's never been explored before, there's not going to be much value in doing that. Equally, if you've got an existing product, you might actually go, we really want to audit the existing product, understand what's not working, look at the analytics in detail. But if it's a startup, they don't have any of that. So this list of activities is a really good starting point of like running through each of those and deciding, is it the right kind of activity for the project that we're looking at? And if it is, how much time we're going to invest into each of those activities ultimately to get the best value at the end of it. Anyone who's done any pre-work, so if it's coming out of the digital team, maybe there's someone in the digital team that's already done some work, or if there's someone who, sometimes it might be like a sales and marketing person, if the product is about reaching a new audience and that's a key part of the product, then you're going to have those people involved. Ultimately, it's 3 or 4 people that know the most about the vision of what they're trying to achieve, and potentially also the people that kind of hold the keys to us, like unlocking it. So if tech integration with a certain part of the platform is key to the success of the product, then you're very likely to have someone from that team represent it. But it's a cross-functional team. You tend to pick either really experienced people or people that have a real sector understanding that actually means they're more valuable than maybe someone who's more years experience but less specific. So it's understanding who are the people that are going to add the most value to those conversations in that day and choosing them. So stakeholder interview is, typically nearly always done. I'm trying to think the last time we didn't do it, but and in some bigger companies there's going to be a massive amount of stakeholders. We had one last year where there's like nearly 50 stakeholders that were involved in the project, and ultimately that's more people than you would normally want to involve in a project. But sometimes you have to take a big group of people on the journey with you, and a stakeholder interview is a really good way of kind of breaking that into a manageable piece of work where you can set up a kind of interview structure, set of questions that we know are important for the success of the project, and run through that and give everyone the opportunity to give whatever valuable insight that they may have. The next one is user interviews. Especially in an existing platform or a platform that's going to evolve, you're going to want to understand what are the current users doing in that platform, what's working well, what isn't. Some people capture user feedback as just part of their normal process. Some people don't, and you have to kind of go back and go, okay, let's find a segment of users that we can interview, and either like incentivize or reward for participating in those interviews. But again, it's a good way to make sure whatever we're building is validated from a user perspective. We're going, actually, is this purely the business that have identified a need, or is this something that their customers are asking for and we know is definitely one of the pain points, or is a value-added service that needs to be in there? Not just the user journey, but ultimately looking at wherever you draw that line of where you're going to start looking at a user interacting with a product. So that might be responding to a marketing campaign. It might be clicking a new button within an existing product UI that takes them through to a new service, or downloading the product from the App Store. It could be any of those. And you want to map out what is the journey we're going to take that user on. So what's the sign up process? What's registration look like? How they're going to log into the platform? What's the core user journey? So we'll always start with like the journey that adds the value to the product. We won't normally get too much into like the administration of like my account and forgotten password and all that kind of stuff. We're really just looking at what is that core value proposition of the product, and map out all the stages that we want to take a user through. If there's already lots of people in the market that are doing something similar, it's understanding how your product vision compares to what's already out there. So you're looking for opportunities where existing people in the market aren't doing something, so that would differentiate your product. And you're also looking at what are the kind of non-negotiables in that market that without them your product isn't going to be considered along its peers. So it's kind of, you're looking at both angles. You're looking at how, if we look at the stuff that has to be in there, how are other people doing it? What can we learn from that? What looks like best practice? What makes sense in terms of people that have already explored this? You know, what can we learn from that? And then make sure our differentiator of why we're building our product, is it just a better service? Is it a better execution? Is there a feature in there that doesn't exist in the other products? So that's the reason to kind of really look at competitor analysis. It's a learning opportunity, and also making sure the product fit that we are targeting makes sense. So this really only comes into play if it's an existing product. So auditing exactly how the existing product works, what's good, what's bad about it, how it's performing, so that we can make sure we're either not making the same mistakes or that we know what the areas are that need to be improved. So UX audit is an easy way to go, okay, what's being done at the moment, and then that gives us a good starting point to then reimagine the product on top of it. If there's detailed analytics, then that's always a good place to get some more insight. Like making decisions based on data is always really good. So anything we can use that goes, actually we can see there is a definite drop off at this point in terms of engagement. We know there's a problem to fix there. So those two tend to happen hand in hand. They only can happen on existing products. And normally if you have one, you have the other. So those two things help provide like an initial starting point. This is where we're at, and some data that helps point us into where we need to improve things. So product metrics is effectively looking at how do we define success. So that might be we want the product to convert 5% of the traffic that comes to it, or we want a product that's going to increase engagement by X number of minutes, or whatever it is. Like defining those in the discovery phase, again, it helps us always check back to what we're trying to achieve, and ideally we want everything that we're trying to achieve to be measurable in some way. So it's kind of going, okay, what's the vision, what's the objective of what we're trying to do, and then what can we turn into a metric that helps us go, yes, we've been successful, no, we haven't, and then understand what we need to tweak further down the line. So yeah, product metrics is a process of defining the goals that we can measure for the product itself that we're going to build. Experience vision is taking the understanding of the problem that we're solving, taking the goals and metrics that we're going to look at as part of building a new product, and the product vision, and taking that all together and telling a story about what the product experience is going to be. So it might start off with a bit of, here's the problem we're tackling, here's what we're looking to do, we're going to build an app to solve some of this, and here's the journey we're going to take people on within that app. And it typically is done as a video or as a presentation, and the goal of that is to, more than just a product vision statement, would get people on board with the product or get them excited about the product. This actually shows them how we're going to solve the problem and what that experience might look like. So it's really tangible, it's really easy to Like, it's not like showing someone a wireframe or showing someone a product statement. It really does show them the product in place, solving the problem, and it kind of bridges that gap, especially when you're talking to like key stakeholders who are going to invest in the product, saying, here is the tangible output that we want to create. This is what it's going to look like, and this is the problem it's going to solve for us. Quite often we'll need other people to be involved in the discovery process. So, we might have the Kyan team might say, we really need access to this person within the business to help us, understand how something works, how we're going to reach users, or how we're going to identify the right stakeholders to interview. So I think ultimately it means if the business knows that it's impossible to get hold of someone, or that person isn't going to be available, or who we need to speak to, those conversations get unlocked at the same time as deciding to do the activity. I think also making sure as a team everyone is aligned with where the budget's going. So you don't want to spend all of your budget doing user testing and then not have a clear vision at the end of it. So making sure both teams are completely aligned, talk about the pros and cons of how much to invest in each activity, then it means the expectation of everyone in that team is all aligned, and we're kind of getting to the end of that discovery phase, and hopefully we've achieved everything that the team has set out. And if there's something that we haven't, we all made that decision together, we all missed something, or there was something we all expected a certain outcome and it didn't happen, it's not like one person or one team's issue, it's a combined product team decision at the end of the day. So that's the discovery phase of our product framework. The first of 3 deep dives into how we build digital products here at Kyan. Like and subscribe to see the next 2.